Gang, Ghetto here. How you doing? Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody having a great Saturday. Hope your Shabbat is a restful one. You ain't out here working. You ain't out here working. But I mean, who am I to, I won't judge you if you are, but you should try to fix that. Because I get it, we got to take care of our fams and all that, but there's enough opportunity out here where you can figure a way to honor the Sabbath and still take care of your family, still take care of yourself, still look as amazing as you do, because everything we do is with the blessing of the Most High. So, with all that being said, I'm going to start back at Genesis 21. Let's make sure we got all the edification we could get out of that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we'll take it from there. As always, as completely always, any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, emails me his ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. As always, you can hit me on the IGs, his ghetto point of view, his ghetto POV on the jizzles. Right? And we always ask if you can give a little love to the mission. We're out here trying to do some good work. $ his ghetto point of view. $ his ghetto point of view. Right? So let's dig into this word. Genesis 21:1. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken, for Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set of time which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Excuse me. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should give him the children suck? Excuse me, I'm reading one more time. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be the heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight. I mean, don't let it trouble you. Don't let it get your heart too heavy, bro. Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of thy bondwoman. And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So, you don't want nothing to happen where in her anger, she hurts Isaac or Isaac's mom. So just get him up out of here. And also, the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, and also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. You are your father's seed. Let these people tell you nothing different, right? And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down against him a good way off, over against him a good way off, as if it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad. And the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. Ain't forgot you, girl. Ain't forgot you at all. Hold tight. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. So it's nice that Bodiotti, excuse me. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at the time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now, therefore, swear unto me here by God, that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not have done this thing. Neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. Like you telling me like I already knew about this, bro. Like you mad at me like I was aware that this was going on. Relax. Calamate. Let's beef. Let's do is try to come to a reasonable agreement. And that's something we can practice today when we get into disagreements with loved ones, with business associates, with people we admire, people who admire us, because that admiration with street can go two ways. The way in which we handle that will either yield future business, future events, future profits, future prosperity, or we can smack away a blessing the Most High was trying to give us in that moment by how we ourselves decide to handle that situation. Something to think about. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not have done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called the place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called thereon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' lands many days. Chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went on to the place of which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place far off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took fire in his hand and a knife, and they went off, both of them together. Said, yo, Most High said he want my son. What I'm supposed to do? I can't say no. I'm not even going to pretend, sit here and act like I know how I would respond to such an act of loyalty. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood. Where's the lamb for a burnt offering? You the lamb, boy. And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in the altar, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took a knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram, caught into thickets by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. Crazy. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah-Jireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord came down to Abraham out of the heaven the 2nd time, and said, By myself I have sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son. Give me 1 second, family. That in blessing, let's expand this out a little bit. That in blessing, I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things, that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor, Huz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. And Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Rumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Phahash, and Makkah, or Makkah. Continuing on. And Sarah was 177 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjathaba. Hold on 1 second, family. Sorry about that. And Sarah died in Kirjathaba. the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his bed and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. Like, yo, pick whichever spot you want that we own, bro. Please. None of us shall withhold from thee this sepulture. But but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field, for as much money as he shall give it for me a possession of a burying place amongst you. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it for me a possession of a burying place among you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me, the field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it thee, bury thy dead. Now you see, some people will be like, oh, that's cool, it's peace. He wanted to just give it to him and show him love. But Abraham was wise in this matter, because we could be cool. You could give it to me, we good. Everybody see the exchange for the next few years, everything rolling smooth. But what about when you pass away and I pass away, and now our kids got to deal with it, and they wasn't there for this agreement, and they may feel a ways about this agreement. They may feel they should have got paid for this land. He's like, nah, let me buy the land from you. You're gonna see, man, like he's very, this is the smartest way to do business. A lot of people, when they do business and stuff, they be like, yo, let me get a discount, let me do this, let me do that, let me figure out and sometimes in business that's necessary. But the best and the most long-lasting business relationships are generally ones where everybody does an exchanging of equal value, and everybody is bringing their resources to the table, or their skills and talents, and trading them at reasonable prices that everyone can be happy with, not just today, not just tomorrow, but a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. That creates the best and most established business relationships. And even then, those relationships can still go sour and go south, as I believe this does later on in the story. But when you establish that type of foundation, even as things go south and sour, you have put yourself in a position of the quote unquote moral authority. So now you can beat your chest a little bit louder. You can say, hey, I paid for this. I expect what I paid for. Let's do business fairly and be stern. And you're not being disrespectful. You're being about your business. You're standing on business, as the young folks would say. But let's continue and watch the intelligence of Abraham in this piece. Right? And Abraham bowed himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephraim in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it to me, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. He's like, yo, this land ain't even worth a lot. Like, you want the land way off in the corner? No, Abraham knew, number one, property values can change over time, and that property could become worth much more later on, depending on how the development of that area goes. Number two, he knew better. He knew that this is a place he wanted to have as a burial site for generations of family as much as could be there. And he knew that that would be too much time passing to think that everybody who came to make good on this deal would always get the same rapport and relationship that he's getting now. So in his genius, he's like, man, just tell me what it's worth. Let me pay you for it so we can have formal agreements that this is my family's plot for burials. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephraim, and Abraham weighed to Ephraim the silver, in which he had named in the audience of the sons of Seth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And in the field of Ephraim, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre. The same is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And in the field, in the cave that is therein, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. Genesis chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my sons of the daughters. Thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. Meaning, yo, you gotta promise me, bro. Like, let's physically, I need you to do an oath and promise me that you will not get my son one of these Canaanite women as a wife. I don't care if we're dwelling here among them. I understand, but that is, we have taken an oath that we will not touch the Canaanite. We gotta respect the oath. But thou shalt go unto my country and take into my kindred and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, peradventure the women will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, beware that thou bring not my son thither again. And the Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angels before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him concerning this matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city, so outside the city, by a well of water at the time of evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. May I have a drink of water, please? Man, let me get a little bit of that water, ma'am. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So he's saying, Lord, I pray to you, show me a son. Like, if I ask a woman for some water, and she not only gives me water, but gives my camels water, I don't know, this is the woman that I should take for my master's son. This is the woman that should marry Isaac. That act of kindness, that display of selflessness, of service, will let me know that this is a woman who would selflessly show love and kindness and tenderness to Isaac. Right? Lessons we can learn from today, family. Just saying. And it came to pass. Now, I'm not saying you should go around and everyone ask her, yo, can I get a drink of water? Though it wouldn't be a wrong thing to do. See what the kindness level is at. Man, I have a drink of water, especially on a hot day, like 103 outside. Man, how you doing, man? I hate to bother you. Man, I have a drink of water. See what the response is. Let you be with 2 or 3 other of your bros. She'd be like, sure, would they like some water as well? Kindness. Goes a long way, man. And it's so lacking in today's society, unfortunately. It's such a fleeting thing. And it seems like we're going so far away from just basic humanity. And that's very unfortunate. And we can get it all back. You know how? Get back in these books. Get back on these laws, man. We get it back. We can get it back. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down the pitcher, I pray thee that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that hast appointed for thy let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. And it came to pass before he had done speaking that behold, Rebekah came out and was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulders. So this is perfect. This is, you know what I mean? Kinfolk. And the damsel was very fair to look upon. She was beautiful, a virgin, neither had any man known her. So in this context, a virgin, this means she was single. She wasn't married yet. Neither had any man known her. So not only was she not a virgin in the way of never having been married and not being married at the time, but she was a virgin also in never having been touched by another man, by any man, And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. This is a perfect example of how the Bible uses virgin in multiple contexts. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened. I mean, she got it quick. This woman put on a little rapidamente, a little speed on it, and let me down her pitcher upon her hand and gave me drink, and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave me drink. And when she had done giving me drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also until they have done drinking. I mean, I'll give them a bunch of water to drink, make sure they good. Caring, tenderness, nurturing. Ladies, a little nurturing don't hurt, you know. Just saying. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trap and ran again onto the well to draw water and drew for his camels. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man who took a golden earring of half a shekel weight and 2 bracelets for her hands, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold. So he started adorning this woman in gold immediately and said, whose daughter art thou? Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge. Yeah, you know, we got extra bedding and all that. Yeah, pull up, come relax. The man bowed down his head and worshiped the Lord. He's like, yo, this woman is so kind. She gave my animals enough water to make sure they no longer thirsty, gave me something to drink. Told me I could pull up to our father's house and there's bedding and all that. It should make us comfortable. Got plenty of food. Come on, man. And he said, "Blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who hath not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren." And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban, and Laban ran out onto the man, onto the well, onto the man, onto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard of the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, "Thus spake the man unto me," that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. Wherefore standest thou without?" Yo, why you, bro? Showing him that brotherly love, like, "Oh, you about to take my sister to the OG want to marry my sister? Word, you gonna treat her right? Man, get up in this house, man. Why y'all standing outside already? You already adorning my sister with gifts. Why y'all standing outside? Come relax. Let me tie up these camels for you." Oh, absolutely. And he said, "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. Why you wherefore standest thou without?" You don't pull up in here. Get up in here. I prepared the house and room for the camels. Man, the house is clean. Space for everybody to relax. Love. Let's have a good old time. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels and gave straw and provender for the camels and water to wash his feet and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told mine errand." And he said, "Speak on." And he said, "I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord hath blessed my master greatly, and he is become great, and he hath given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him he hath given all he hath." He running down the resume before he say anything else. He running down the resume. He letting them know, listen, this is a momentous occasion. Your sister will be in beautifully safe hands and will be taken care of. Let her pull up. And my master made me swear, saying, "Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but thou shalt go unto my father's house and to my kindred, and take my wife and take a wife unto my son. Go back home. Find my son a good woman back home." And I said unto my master, "Peradventure the woman will not follow me." And he said unto me, "The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way, and thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred and of my father's house. And then shalt thou be clear from this oath, when thou comest to my kindred, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well, and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgins coming forth to draw water, and I say to her, give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink. And she'd say to me, both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Lord hath appointed for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down unto the well and drew water. And I said unto her, let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, drink. And I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, whose daughter art thou? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son. who Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face and the bracelets upon her hands. Oh girl, you somebody's now. Potentially. You know what I mean? We working it out. And I bowed down my head and worshiped the Lord and blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter onto his son. And now if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceedeth from the Lord. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Lord hath spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their word, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. God is good. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. And he gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10, after that she shall go. And he said unto them, hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. So I love when people be like, oh, women in the Bible, oh, it's just the slavery stuff. They asked her, will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. She was with it. She wanted to go. They were trying to get it to slow. They're like, nah, let us stay here like 10 days first, and then we'll figure out the arrangement. It's like, nah. I'll go. This man done put in a lot of effort. Don't forget effort, brothers. Don't ever forget. Take a little effort, you know? Ain't nothing wrong with that either. Man, things that are valuable take effort, brothers. Never forget that. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well of Laharai, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. She was quite impressed with the brother's looks. For she had said unto the servant, what man is that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. Oh, she was ready now. And the servant told Isaac all the things he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Genesis chapter 25. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Asherim, Netzushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanoch, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, while yet he lived, eastward unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, and 160 and 15 years. So that means he lived 175 years, because a score is 20. So 3 scores would be 60. 15 and 60 is 75. So 175 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael, traveling Ishmaelites. We're going to talk about Isaac too, or Ishak. Buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt well with Laharai. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, who Hagar, the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. What? Oh, and these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations, the firstborn of Ishmael, Nabijah, and Kedar, Adbea, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns, by their castles, 12 princes, according to the nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, and 130 and 7 years, so 137. And he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelled from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Jacob was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob before. These are the children of Israel. I'm sorry. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out all red all over, like a hairy garment. They called his name Esau. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and he took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him, about 60. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in the tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat up his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sod pottage. And Esau came from the field and he was faint, meaning he was cooking up a nice pottage stew, bean stew. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, but that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore, his name was called Edom. That's how Esau got the name Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Everybody like to say Jacob did something wrong and Jacob is not right and blah, blah, blah. Jacob bought an item. He bartered for it and he successfully won the barter. Or he traded for it. They both got what they asked for. You can't retroactively look at it and say, oh, that wasn't a fair trade. You got to take that up with your people. Then Jacob gives Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. He did. No one made him despise his birthright. He chose to despise his birthright. That ain't on no one else. And in Genesis 26:1, and there was a famine in the land, besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went on to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the land appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he feared to say, she is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. She's a very, very beautiful woman. Very, very beautiful woman. Continue on. And it came to pass, when he had been there for a long time, that Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, looked out a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lined with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in the land and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him for all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father. And the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, meaning they stopped them from being able to flow. They stopped them up and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, go from us, for thou art much weightier than we. And Isaac, much more important, huh? And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines, had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, "The water is ours." And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well, for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, "For now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him in the same night, and said, "I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, I am with thee, and I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake." And he builded up an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants digged a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzaph, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, "Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you?" And they said, "We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, Let there now be an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee." Oh, so now that the Lord got my back, you wanna come and see me, huh? Interesting. That thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have thee away in peace, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, "We have found water." And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took the wife of Judith, the daughter. When he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. So he took on 2 wives when he was 40 years old, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and Rebekah. All right, gang, we're going to leave it right there. I always appreciate you taking a moment to stop in and hear the word. Thank the Most High for the amazing blessings that's coming to you and to your family. I'm so happy you got to stop in and swing through. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank the Most High so much for everything he does to touch, to inspire, to grow, to bear fruit through you, manifesting all of the amazing skills, talents, crafts, and creative excellence that has individually been placed in your hands. Go out and do great. Go out and do great. Go out and do great. You got this. All praise to the Most High for continuing to bestow and bless us with so many wondrous things. We are so blessed, so fortunate, chosen. Don't take it for granted. Humbly accept the gifts and use them to the best of the community.
Email me hisghettopointofview@gmail.com. Questions, comments, critiques, criticisms. Subscribe to my channel once again. And if you are so inclined, I definitely appreciate it. The mission wouldn't be the same quite without you. Peace and love, family. We out here. Until next time.